Okay. Do I claim to be an expert? No. I built like 18 guitars and I'm getting pretty good at it. But this is a video of how to copper tape, how I copper tape the electronics or the potentiometer cavity. So I have copper tape here, which is paper backed. I don't even know if the adhesive's conductive. I don't count on the adhesive. I solder spots on the joints between each overlap, which makes it probably much better than the glue. If, like most people, you've seen glue over the years eventually dry up. So even if you have good contact when you do it, which I've read that some of the glues still have like an 80 ohm resistance. But if you have good contact, measure that in 10, 15 years, I bet you it's going to dry up. I could be wrong, but especially on cheap quality tape. Um, some people use the conductive paint, which I've also read doesn't mean it's right, but what I've read is if you put an ohm meter from one side to the other, you can get up to 100 ohms of resistance. Is it shield good enough? Probably. But I like the tapes, cheap enough. And a lot of people, it's kind of annoying, not necessarily tough, but annoying to get the tape down around the bottom and decently. So what I first do is, if you happen to have a file on your computer of this cavity, you could print it out. Would save you time of tracing it. But take a piece of paper, try usually if you just hit the edge with the pencil sideways, you can see that where it hits an edge, it's much darker. So okay, let's see, where are we? Oh, it goes way over here. If you actually had some tracing paper, it might be easier, which I don't think I have any. Okay, let's see if you can see that clearly. So, oh, okay. So actually, it came out okay. I can see the line here. So, sometimes what I'll do is I'll cut out a piece of wood, roughly an 1/8 inch smaller, all the way around. Piece of 1/4 inch plywood, but if you don't have a bandsaw, a piece of cardboard will do. This is like cardstock. It'd be nice if it was a little thicker, but I'm going to rough cut it. Roughly an 1/8 inch smaller all the way around. Once per guitar, then you might not want to go through all the trouble of having a nice piece. So here I am. Let's see if it fits right. Okay. It's a little smaller than I was hoping. It's not that accurate, so maybe if I made this more accurate. So now the next step is getting some copper down here. So now you might be able to use wax paper. This is decal paper. And if I take this, I can stick my tape on here, and I will be able to easily remove it from this. So I'm going to take a couple of pieces of tape here. Make sure they're long enough. At least a 3/4 inch longer than I need. Maybe an inch. I'm going to go an inch. So I'm going to do 2 pieces this an inch longer. Depending on how much you paid for the tape, you don't never like to waste, but okay, I got 2 pieces here. Now if I lay these down, looks like 2 pieces will be perfect. So I'm going to take 1 piece, and place it on the wax paper or whatever you call it. Okay. I'm going to take the second piece, overlap it roughly 1/4 inch. Yeah. Now this joint, even if you have conductive tape, I would tack solder a couple spots on it after it's in the guitar. So there's that. Now this piece, see if it makes any difference if it's goes in this way or this way. Okay. Seems like this is the upper. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to cut the tape out, cut this out roughly a 1/2 inch bigger all the way around. If you like metric, I don't know, 12 millimeters. If it moves around, it's annoying. Maybe I'll put a couple of little pieces of tape here. Okay. Now I'm going to cut this out, roughly a 1/2 inch bigger. Okay, there we are. Now when you fold this up, the outside curves will overlap, and sometimes it's easier if you just put little clips around anything that's not straight. Okay. Now I got that. Now you need some way to pull this out, so make some type of a handle. I'm going to just use tape. Like that. Yeah. Now I got a little handle here to pull my piece out. So what you do is you fold these all up just a little bit. Right. And you remove the backing. Once I get it going, it should be easy. Okay. There we are. It doesn't look right, right? I forget which. I should have marked which was the up one. Carefully center it, press it in. Yeah, carefully, I said. Okay. Carefully press it in, and then run your finger all the way around. Carefully, try not to tear it. A little help from whatever. Okay, here's the piece on the other side. There it is. Okay. As you can see, I got it about 3/8, 10 mils up all the way around. Make sure with my back of my fingernail, making sure it's tight. Tight on the bottom. I guess there's no rush to poke the component, the potholes, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you want to make it, try to make it look nice, get as many wrinkles out as you can. Okay. Okay. Let's see if pause this first. So I have up about a 3/8 of an inch. There's little gaps from where I cut it, but when we go around the sides, that won't be an issue. So, next step. Okay, here it is. I have it up about 3/8 of an inch, 10 millimeters all the way around. Just the hole going up to the pickups. Next step is to do the sides. Okay, so what I do, instead of trying to cut a piece of tape to go all the way around, which you could do all the way around, I'm going to cut a piece maybe long enough to go halfway around. Let's see how that goes. Okay, then I have 1 and an eighth, so I want to go 1 3/8. This is 2 inch, so I have to cut off about 5/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to cut a long strip, and then I'm just eyeballing 5/8 of an inch off. Okay, let's see. And it could have came a little higher, but this works. So, the next thing is something to help you coil it through here. I took a piece of dowel I had kicking around and I cut a slot in it. Now, if you don't have a piece of dowel kicking around, a couple of straight pieces. Two straight pieces taped together, maybe chopsticks, whatever. So basically what the stick is for curling up the backer. So if I start to peel the tape, okay, and then I put this on the backer to wind it up out of the way as I go. Okay. So find a spot you like to start at. Reason why I don't like the original piece too long, because I mean you could roll it up if you want. Whatever you find works well. Get it started. And then as you go, you can wind up the backer to get it out of your way. Now if you want, maybe a pencil. A pencil or another dowel here. As you go. Okay, this came loose. So get this back on. I kind of like my finger better. Okay. Keep rolling it up. Okay, I'm at the jack hole, so you know Good job of pushing it in there. Okay. So, I'm going to press it all down. And now, you got to put little snips around the inside curves in order to push them over. I mean, you could force them over and tear them if you want. Or you can use a razor blade. Okay. And everybody loves fingernails for doing everything. Back of my fingernail. Maybe a piece of plastic would be good for pushing it down rather than... You know, the wife say, your hands are horrible, don't touch me. And then I can use a couple of pieces I overlap the face. I'm going to just trim them in here with a razor blade. Okay, there I am. I got most of the way around. Okay, it came out pretty decent. I got most of the way around here. Yeah, I still have to do something with the hole for the jack, so that'll be last. So I need another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 inches. Okay, I got another 5.5 inches here. Cut another piece. Cut it down, remove 5/8 of an inch due to I don't need this depth. Take my dowel. Get it all the way to the bottom. Make sure I have enough overlap. Only takes actually 1/8 of an inch at the most. Okay, get that in there. Start rolling this up as I go. Okay. Make sure I get it. It'd be really nice if you didn't have to have wrinkles in it, because it would look nicer, but cut the backs here. Fingernail again. Trim off any that's coming up on the inside edge. So there it is so far. Now I'm cutting into the jack hole. First attempt will be, I got a piece of dowel here that's a little bit smaller. Take some piece of tape. I'm thinking if I go 3/4 of the way around and then a second piece. So let's see. Here's my tape, which is going to be like this. Maybe I can use a full piece, I don't know. This is my first attempt, so I gotta wind this I think it will start sticking to itself, and then I'll get frustrated. So I'm gonna put this on here, right here, backwards. If I went longer, it would be touching there, and it would be driving me crazy. So I have my finger on the inside so I can feel when it's in far enough. Okay, there it is, right there. It's far enough now. My little pinky finger, maybe. What else can I press it with? I have my pencil. So far so good. You have to make sure that you don't get the ends stuck tight before the middle, because then you'll never have, what's the right word? You'll never get it to stretch far enough. So you want to make sure the center is stuck first, and then work your way to the ends. Okay, there's that. Now, I can overlap it a little, but I don't want it to stick out past the jack plate. So I'm going to trim off just a little. And I can fold this out. Doesn't look pretty, but I think the jack plate will cover that. And if it doesn't, I can always trim it back. Yeah, so I got a little piece here showing, which is no rush to trim it now. So let's see, no rush. Okay, that's going to work out well. Now I just need a second piece, which will overlap this one. Okay, here we go. Make sure that the open side is the opposite. Go in, feel with my finger. Maybe, oh. Okay. There I am. It's in far enough. Start pressing in the middle. Work my way out to the ends. All right. Maybe the pencil might be a little better than the finger. Is this all necessary? I don't know. One way is to plug in your guitar, and if it has too much hum, deal with it later. If you, my last guitar, I actually used shielded wire to each potentiometer, so there was very little exposed signal wire. I noticed when I worked for a few companies, they would not appreciate the way this looks. They would want it nice and uniform, and they would have techniques of trimming it. So when you looked at it, it looked like, because if you show more care in building something, it usually means it's a better product. So, but none of it's showing, so it's definitely unnecessary. Definitely make sure it's in tight enough. What I'll do around the jack is I'll put a piece of plastic to make sure if this ever comes loose, it will not short out the connector. On the inside of the cavity, which we'll get to next, I will fold these tape over, and it will be tack sorted in a few spots. So that's next. Here it is coming in here. Now, is this shielding necessary? Would the conductive paint be quicker and easier? Probably. I should probably buy some and try it. The best way to know is to actually try it and see if it works. Of course, anybody selling it is going to tell you it's great. But maybe it's not necessary to do this much shielding. So I got to trim this back, fold it over, and then I'm going to tack solder everything. So let's see. Okay. Now the foil's into the jack hole here, and it's sticking out a lot further than I need. So I'm going to trim some of this off. A little scissors would be nice, but I don't have one, so. Having the right tools always helps. But cut this back. Okay. That actually worked okay. A little bit extra here. Get that down. Fold this back. It's going to tear if I don't cut it, so I'm going to cut it. Fold it up. And back. And then rub it down. Try to get a good bond. Like I said, I don't know how good the glue is on this tape. It's some stuff I bought. Some stuff I bought from China. Because the price was incredible for this huge roll. Was only 14 bucks. I'll never run out of this. I already did 16 guitars, and you know, it's kind of a shame to try to compete with how low their prices are, but I don't need 16 guitars, so if I kept spending $600-700 a guitar, it'd be crazy. So I try to keep a guitar under 200. Okay, looks actually very nice. Let's see if I can get a closer look here. There it is. It's actually shielded all the way through, which I was not going to do because I'm lazy, but I figured I would do it all the way through. Of course, the wires going up to the pickups aren't shielded, but the pickup wires will be shielded. So if I really wanted, I want to go a little excessive, I could stuff crushed copper around that or whatever, or put some more tape and press it tight against the wires. It's probably unnecessary. Okay, next thing is tacking it with a soldering iron. Okay, here we go. I have it all shielded. Oh, I forgot one thing. I didn't run a wire. Oh, I didn't even figure out where the bridge is. I can do that later. So anyway, if you remember, I have two pieces at the bottom, overlapped by a 1/4 inch, so I have to put at least one tack, but I probably put at least two. Does it make any difference more than one? Probably not. And then I have two pieces around here, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4 separate pieces plus the jack. So 5 separate pieces. I have to make sure I have minimum 5 tacks, and I'll probably do 10, who knows. So I find the seam. Let's see, this, which way does it overlap? Right here. Here's the first one. One tack. Maybe I'll put a couple of extras just for the heck. Okay. 3 tacks, easy enough. Now I have this seam, let's see, where's it start? I can see it right here. It starts right here. There's one. I'm going to tack the side to the bottom. Right there. That's a nice. I'll do a couple more. Which is so easily done with this. Tape is so thin it takes like 2 seconds to heat up. So if you want, you can, if you wanted, you could do the whole perimeter, but it's not necessary because I have an overlap between the bottom and the sides. Now, some people just do the bottom without coming up the sides, and then you're going to have a crack all the way around. It's probably enough shielding anyhow, but what the heck. Okay, let's see. Do this one. Another thing that tacks, if the glue ever came loose from the tape. Okay, now the solder will hold it in place. So here is the edge of the jack hole. Okay. And it didn't tack well. Let's see. It's okay. Another one at the bottom. Another one over here, just for the heck. And that's it. You see, I can put a couple more if I want, just for the hell of it. For the heck of it, okay? Some people don't like that word, okay? Bum, 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 bum. There's plenty of tacks there, so that's it. Now the next thing is to clean up the foil in the holes. I mean, you could just press your potentiometers through the foil, but I found if like you push it in, you pull it out, and it starts to lift the foil. So I use a file and a downward cut to trim off the extra foil. There it is. Done. That's it. Come over here. I don't bother to do the pickup holes because the pickups are pretty much shielded. So here I have it. Now try to press this down in the center as best I can. Okay. Center it the best I can. Little pressure. Pull this out. Ha! The label came off. One thing after another. Okay. Tweezers. Okay. So, let's see if you can see that. You can see it's okay. Now I have to slowly press it into the corners. And it's roughly coming up about 3/16, a little less than a quarter on that side because I didn't center it perfect, but that's good enough. Now the side, so I want the depth of I want the width of the tape to be the depth plus at least a 1/4 inch. Or if you're doing metric, okay, 7 millimeters, 8 millimeters would be 5/16, so 7 millimeters. Let's measure it. Ruler. I got millimeters. I want it to be 4.5 centimeters. I got 1 and 5/8 minimum, 1 3/4. Okay, 1 3/4, and this tape is 2. I'm gonna go 1 and 11/16, and I'm gonna. Okay. And of course, the annoyance of trying to get this in there, and maybe I'll pre-roll it up. Pre-rolling it so I can get into the hole here. Okay. All the way down. Now I know I'm at the bottom. I got my pencil here. Get the start. If I want to roll up the Becker paper. Okay. And the pencil. Make sure you get it tight enough, because okay, and it's very nice that you can roll up this out of the way. If you're not rolling it up, it's just like if it's coming out, it's going to pull up your tape at an angle. It's going to be very annoying. Okay, so I'm going around, make sure it's tight. If I had some air bubbles, wouldn't be a big deal, but okay, so. Okay, that's out now. And before I press the end down, I'm gonna go back over the first part. I definitely have some bubbles in it. Get that out. Yep, they pulled out okay. Maybe thicker tape would be easier to work with. Actually, the piece I cut's not long enough. I got a small gap there. Normally I would cut this, and I didn't. Okay, and that overlap is perfect. You don't need more than that. Make sure this is tight. But the thing is, if it's not tight, like I said, over the years it's going to come loose. Will it flop around? Maybe not. If you really want to be safe, you put a piece of plastic around on the inside. And then if it ever comes loose, it won't short out your switch. It won't be an issue. So I'm going to poke a hole here for the wires. And there it is. Let's see if I can focus this in here. That works perfect. Oh, okay. Now, of course, a couple of tacks of, it's one piece around the outside, so all I need is one tack from the bottom to the side, but I'm going to put a few. I'm going to poke a hole here for the switch. Okay. I'm not protecting the back of my guitar here from soldering iron because I'm trying to make it look like it's 80 years old. So this piece of wood came off an at least that 80-90 year old table, and it's the original finish. So I'm not trying to fool anybody, but it's the look, you know. Some people like that crazy look. I'm gonna put a few tacks here, maybe 4. I have a small gap here, I'm not worried. Okay. The tape should have been a 1/4 inch longer, but it wasn't. So there we go. Finito!